Trời. Nè. Ừ. The seven major poverty emotions: the emotions of desire, the emotion of faith, emotions of love, emotions of shock, and emotions of enthusiasm, emotion of romance, and emotion of hope, and emotion of hope. There are other positive emotions, but these are the seven most powerful and the one most commonly used in creative efforts. Master these seven emotions, they can be mastered by use, and the other positive emotions will be at your command when you need them. Remember, in this connection, you are studying a book which is intended to have feeling positive emotion. One does not become money conscious by feeling. One must quit negative emotion. The seven major negative emotions to be avoided: the emotion of fear, the emotion of jealousy, the emotion of hatred, the emotions of revenge, the emotion of greed, the emotions of superstition, the emotions of anger. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy in mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. It is your responsibility to make sure that positive emotions constitute the dominating influence of your mind. Here the laws of habits will come to your aid from the habits of applying and using the positive emotion. Eventually, they will dominate your mind so completely that the negative cannot enter it. Only by following this intuitively, literally, and continuously, can you gain control over the subconscious mind. Subconscious mind: the presence of single negatives in the conscious mind is sufficient and destroy all chance of constructive act from your subconscious mind. If you are the observing person, you must have noticed that most people resort to prayer only after everything else has failed, and else they play by the rules demanding less work. And because it is the fact that most people who pray so do only after everything else has failed, they go to the prayer with their minds filled with the fear and doubt, which are the emotions of such conscious mind acts upon and presses on the infinite intelligence. Likewise, it is the emotions which infinite intelligence receive and act upon if you pray for a thing, but have a fear as you pray that you may not receive it, or their prayer will not to act upon by infinite intelligence. Your prayer has been in vain. Prayer does sometimes result in the realization of that for which one prays. If you have ever have experience of receiving that for which you praise, go back in the memory and record your actual state of mind while you were praying, and you will know for sure that is theory have it described in more than a theory. The time will come when the school and educational institution of the country will teach the science of prayer. Moreover, then prayer may be and will be reduced to be science. When that time comes, it will come as soon as mankind is ready for its end demanded. No one was abroad. The universe mind in a state of fear, and every good reason that there is be no such emotion of fear. Ignorant superstition and false teaching will have disappeared, and man will have attained his true status as a trace of infinite intelligence. A few have already attained this blessing. If you believe this prophecy is far-fetched, take a look at that human race in retrospect. Less than 100 years ago, man believed the lightning to be evidence of the wrath of God and felt it. Now, thanks to the power of faith, men have harnessed the lightning and made it turn the world of in the wheels of industry. Much less than 100 years ago, men believed the space between the planets and be nothing but a great void that stretched that's nothingness. Now, thanks to the same power of faith, men know that far from being either death or a void, the space between the planets is the very much alive, that it is the highest form of vibration known, excepting perhaps the vibrations of thought. Moreover, men know that this living, pulsating, vibrate, vibratory energy, which permeates every atom of matter and fill every night of space, connect every human brain with every other human brain. Day 130. What reason have men to believe that the same energy does not connect every human brain with infinite intelligence? There are no target between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. The communication costs nothing except patience, faith, persistence, understanding, and the sincere desire to communicate. Moreover, the approach can be made only by the individual himself. Peace prayers are worthless. Infinite intelligence does no business by proxy. You either go direct and you do not communicate. You may buy prayer books and repeat them until the day of your doom without a will. Thoughts which you wish to communicate to infinite intelligence must undergo transformations that else you can be give only through your own subconscious mind. The methods by which you may communicate with infinite intelligence is very similar to that through which the vibrations of sound is communicated by radio. If you understand the work principle of radio, you of course know that sound cannot be communicated through the ether until it has been stepped up or changed into a rate of vibration which a human ear cannot detect. The radio sending station picks up the sound of a human voice and scrums and modifies it by stepping up the vibration millions of times. And only in this way can the vibration of sound be communicated through the ether. After this transformation has taken place, the ether picks up the energy which originally was in the form of vibration of sound, carries that energy to radio receiving station, and the receiving sets that energy back down to its original rate of vibration, so it is recognized as sound. The subconscious mind is the intermediary which translates one's prayer into terms which infinite intelligence can record, recognize, present the message, and bring back the answer to the form of a definite plan or ideas for brokering the objects of the prayer. Understand this principle, you can go know why mere quotes from a prayer book cannot and will never serve as energies of communications between the mind of man and infinite intelligence. Before your prayer will reach infinite intelligence, a state of an author's theory only is probably is transformed from its origin source vibrations into terms of spiritual vibration. Faith is the only known energy agency when you give your thought as spiritual nature. Faith and fear make poor bedfellow. Where one is found and other cannot exist. And the chapter 13, the brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thoughts, the 20th step toward greatness. More than 20 years ago, the author working on conjunctions with the late Dr. X. Alexander Graham Bell and the emergence observed that every human brain are both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought through the medium of the ether in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle. Every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of shock which are being released by other brains. In connection with the statement in the preceding paragraph, compare and consider the description of the creative imagination as outlined in this chapter on imagination. The creative imagination is the briefing set of the brain which receives thought relieved by the brain of other. It is the agency of communications between each conscious or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. When, when stimulated, when stimulated or step up to the high rate of vibrations, mind becomes more conceptive of vibrations of thought, which reaches to thought, reaches to source or either from the source. And vibration is an extremely high only vibrations we are carried by the ether from the brain to another. Thought is the energy traveling at the unexceeding height rate of vibration. High vibrations thought which have been modified and stepped up by only of the major emotion vibrate at as much higher rate than ordinary thought, and it is the style of thought which spreads from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. The emotion of Shakespeare at the heat of the lit of human emotions as far as intensity and driving force are concerned. The brain which has been stimulated by the emotion of sex vibrations at a much more repeated rate than it does when that emotion is quiescent and absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the rate of vibrations of thought to act as beat that the creative imaginations become highly receptive to ideas, which is picked up from the ether. On the other hand, when the brain is vibrating at a rapid rate, it is not attracted through an idea released by the brain through the mediums of the ether, but it gives to one's own thought that feeling, which is essential because those thoughts will picked up with acts upon one's subconscious mind. So you will see that the broadcasting principle is the factors through which you make feeling and emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through the weak vibration of thought and broadcasting. The creative imagination is the receiving state through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether, along with the important factor of the subconscious mind is a faculty of the creative imagination. We constitute the sending and receiving set of your mental broadcasting machinery. Consider now the principle of outer suggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. Through this instruction, describe and decipher an outer suggestion, you would definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmuted into its monetary equivalent. Operations of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simply procedure. You have but three principles to bear in mind and to apply when you wish to use your broadcasting station. The subconscious mind creates imagination and auto-suggestion. The stimulus through which you put these three principles into actions have been described to, but procedure begins with desire, the great thought and intangible. The depression brought the good to the very borderline of understanding of the forces which are intangible and unseen. Through the age which have passed, men have depended too much upon his physical senses and has limited his knowledge to physical things which he could see, touch, weight, and measure. And now we are now entering the most marvelous age, the age which will teach us something of the intangible parts of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass through this age, that the other cell is more powerful than the physical cell we see when we look into a mirror. Sometimes men speak lightly with the intangibly, the thing which they cannot perceive through any of these reasons, and when they hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. The whole of mankind has not the power of hope, which nor to control the intangible force wrapped up into the rolling waves of the ocean. Man has not the capacity to understand in the intangible force of gravity which keeps this little earth suspended the mid-air and keep man from falling from it, much less the power to control that force. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with the thunderstorm, and he is dressed as helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity, nay, and does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what is its purpose. Now is this by any means the end of the man's ignorance in connection with things unseen and intangible? He does not understand the intangible force and intolerance wrapped up in the soil of the earth, the force which provides him with every morass of fruits he eats, every article of clothing he wore, every dollar he carried in his pocket. The dramatic story of the brain, lost but at least man with all the his boasted culture and education, understand little or nothing of the intangible force, the greatest of all the intangible of thought. He knows but little concerning the physical brain and its vast network of intricate machineries through which the power of thought is translated into its material equivalent, but he is now entering an age which shall yield enlightenment on the subject. Already men of science have begun to turn their attention to the study of this stupendous thing called a brain, and while they are still in the kindergarten stage of their study, they have uncovered enough knowledge to know that the central switchboard of the human brain, the number of lines we connect the brain cells one with another, equal the finger one, followed by 15 million ciphers. The figure of the stupidest that set the Jushan Hundreds of the University of Chicago, that astronomical figure deals with hundreds of millions of light years, become insignificant by comparison. It has been determined that there are from 10 billion to 14 billion nervous cells in the human cerebral cortex, and we know that these are arranged in definite pattern. These arrangements are not haphazard, they are orderly. Recently developed methods of exercise physiology drop up actions current from very preciously located cells and fibers that microelectrodes amplify them in radio tubes and record potential difference to a millionth of a volt. And contrasted to widespread opinion, they do not improve when the percipient as a hard, but is contrasted when the most wide awake and alert stream decrypt diagnostic and the most reliably performed cannot be scored unless he tried to do his best. That's all. 132